Ooh, that jam.
Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday Checkdown. I'm Joe Carlton, and I'm here with JC. Rick couldn't make it tonight. He was traveling for work. So I appreciate you stepping in for help me out.
Stoked.
And
This will be a fun one.
Tonight, our guest hails from pretty much the same neighborhoods as I grew up in. He writes one of my favorite weekly articles during the season, Money Makers and Heartbreakers, and specializes in tweets at the ass crack of dawn on Saturday mornings, guaranteed to start your day with a laugh. We bring you Michael Reedy of Fantrax. What's up, Mike? How are you this evening?
Good, man. How you doing? Yeah, JC. Joe and I grew up maybe 2 miles apart.
Wow, that's awesome.
2 miles apart.
Mike's
That's
from the
awesome.
Mike's from the 80s era, though. I'm the 90s.
Yeah, I'm a little older, like a lot older.
a lot older. Yeah. So I had to bring up that but so Saturdays I work. I have Friday and Sundays off. So Saturday morning I'm up early. I go on Twitter, and there's always something that you have up there, Mike, that makes me smile or laugh. I appreciate you for that.
Well, we're in my Twitter break right now, where I don't.
Right? Yeah. I was gonna say that. Yeah, there hasn't been much recently, but
but yeah, I'll start picking up again after the draft. I need a break after the season ends.
I usually take a break too, but JC tossed me the show, so there was no break.
break time is like June, July. That's kind of like break time, and things are
when things are stagnant, when things get stagnant.
People are doing drafts and stuff like that, but there's really not really.
That's when I like to stir the pot with those hot take people, though.
Oh yeah,
all the hot take people where they just make up some garbage and throw it out there.
And then when it hits, they quote tweet it too, and
Aaron Rodgers replaced Pat Mahomes. Like, what the hell? What? Nice. Chiefs are going to sign Aaron Rodgers to take over Pat Mahomes. People are selling off Pat. No, I'm just joking. Just some crazy. That's what I'm talking about.
You're going to trade Pat Mahomes for 3 first-round picks first.
Right?
All right, let's get into Mike's personal interview. So why don't you tell us about your background, where you live, about your family, anything you want to share? Really,
I'm in York, Maine now. I have 3 kids.
Hi, Mel.
My oldest is a girl who's going to have a baby in May, so I'm going to become a grandfather. Hey, Greg, nice. We're missing you, man. I co-founded a small consulting firm, international consulting firm, Outcons. I wear the logo often on things. That's why I said I'm lucky I work for myself, or I would have had to take like a leave of absence because I've been sick so much the past 2 years. I've been I started writing originally for the Undroppables. JC was there for a short time as well with me. I left and I went to Fantrax, and it wasn't, I love the Undroppables guys. I'm still in all their group chats and stuff, and I share all their work. But I really wanted to get a chance to work with Nick Script. That was the primary reason why I went over there. Nick and I have been kind of friendly. He's also much younger than me.
Nick is awesome. Nick is awesome. I talked to Nick.
Nick's a great guy, and he's probably one of the hardest working guys in the business, right? So I'd been hoping to get a chance to work with Nick, and I'll be going into my 3rd season over there at Fantrax this year.
Nice.
I'm known for Money Makers and Heartbreakers. It started off as a thread. It became an article. I would say my Greg, I know, right? Everybody's younger than us. Yes, we're part of the old guy. There's literally like an old guy tweet shout out on every Friday, and Greg and I are both part of it. I don't think there's anybody under 55 in the whole thread.
That's awesome.
I also do some waiver wire stuff over there. Money makers and heartbreakers could be used as a sit start during the season. It's I read it more as a DFS article though. I had my worst season ever this past year, by the way, in DFS after having my best season last season, the year before. Right.
It was a weird year for DFS.
It was very.
It was very bad. You'd have a great player in a great matchup. 10 yards. Wait, what?
Yeah. It was a weird year for football.
There was a lot of that where it's like, how is the only guy who had a bad game running against his defense this guy who averages 20 fantasy points a week? But it happened often. I play mostly redraft and DFS. I play in between 15 and 18 leagues, and I play in one dynasty league. I only stay in it because I'm in that one with a lot of the undroppable guys. Joshua Cho's in that league, and I just stayed because of those guys. I consider myself I've been a contender like once. I don't like negotiating trades to win $100. I'm not a guy who wants to spend 3 weeks negotiating a deal to win a league where I'm going to walk away with like $100, right? Like that's not me. You laugh, but I literally do the math and I'm like, dude, what? Maybe I can make 50 cents an hour if I win this league by spending 50 hours trying to get a trade with you guys. It doesn't mean that much to me. Mm-hmm. I'm continuously cutting down my redraft leagues every year. So this year, I think I had 15. I'll probably try to drop it to around 12. That's a sweet spot. I try to only play on 2 apps, by the way. I'm not going to mention what they are. But
Fantrax
that
is
way, Fantrax is one now. Yes, that just started this year, by the way. I run the Fantrax Writers League. I did a horrible job setting up that league this year. I thought their defaults would be something they weren't. So I'll fix that for next season. Sorry, everybody.
So how long have you been playing, Mike? When did you start playing?
I started playing in 2004. I worked for IBM at the time, and the team of guys I worked with had a fantasy football league, and somebody bailed the week before the draft. I had no idea what I was doing.
That's how everybody starts. If somebody bails, then they fit.
And I just said, okay, I'll play. I'll try this thing. I make fun of people for playing this game, right? Which I did. And one of my best friends helped coach me through that season, and I got kind of hooked. So I started a league I run the very next year. And I only invited guys who had won championships, even though I had never won a championship yet. So the competition was really tough. And it's still really tough. Probably the toughest league I play in is the league I run. Everybody's really, really good. They also read my articles and say they don't, but I know they do because, you want to add some guy that nobody's would consider. And it's like, God damn it. Everybody's fighting over this guy because they know I want him, right? That's the downside of creating content. You both probably know that, right? Yeah. They find you. At first, my friends made fun of me, and then they were like, "Wait a minute, that's a good play." And then I was like, "God damn it!" My son just started playing. His second season was this past season, and he won a dynasty league in his second season playing fantasy football. I was very happy for him. It was great. His trophy's huge. I noticed you have Scott Fishbowl on here. So I've been doing the live drafts every year they've had it in Boston. So I think it was 3 years in a row now. That's right. Joe. I met you there, right?
Yeah. I've done the past 2. I wasn't around for the first one.
There's a lot of Boston guys I keep trying to meet at the draft, and I don't get to meet them. But I've played in the same division. I had won it 2 years in a row, and then because I got cocky and talked a bunch of smack in the preseason this year, I didn't even make the playoffs. That'll teach me, right?
Sounds like a down year. You had a down year, Mike.
I had a very bad year. I did win one league. That's it. I played in a few championships. I won one. But yeah, man, it was a bad year for me all the way around.
So you run a charity playoff contest every year, which this year I was honored to be a part of. Can you tell the audience about this contest and the charity you were back?
We run a playoff challenge every year for Ride Hard, Breathe Easy. One of my former bosses runs it. His mom died of lung cancer. So what they do is they literally have agreements with hospitals where they pay for things to try to help alleviate lung cancer patients' pain prior to operations and after operations and during chemo and things like that. It's a really good charity. As he said, they do some other thing with alcohol, and then all their other things are like bike rides across the country and things like that to raise money. But he said, "Here we are. I run one with alcohol, and you have us. You're getting us into gambling. What's next?" And I'm like, "Dude, I mean, I don't know. Uh, you know, anything that makes money to help the charity out, I guess, right?" So it's a very good charity. I will say this: we went down in participants this year, and I don't know why. So we have a cap. We're trying to get to 110, and keep it right there because it just gets hard to manage so many people. But
we're gonna have to get you on Rick's show because he actually does a show on Tuesdays where he's doing all charity leagues, and he basically does a show so you can literally sit there and talk about your charity league and what you do, why you do it, what it's for.
Just during the playoffs, right? So it keeps everybody going a little bit longer. That might be why this season people failed. There were a lot of people, a lot of friends were
like, nobody wants to watch the Chiefs again.
Yeah. I knew a lot of people were fed up this year.
Yeah, no, when I saw that charity, that one inspired me because as you guys know, and some of the audience knows, my dad had lung cancer and he passed away this year. So I was glad to have joined that contest with you.
Well,
Mike.
They're really based out of Philly, and thanks, Joe, again. And I'm trying to. Hopefully, we'll start getting them into more alliances with some hospitals up north as they grow. He's doing a great job, though. My John Matthews runs a charity. I run that challenge with him, his nephew, and my oldest daughter, right? So that we can try to have multiple hands making things work. When it all comes down to it, though, my name's the one out there, so I end up doing a lot of the grunt work to make sure people get invitations on time and stuff when it looks like other people are just busy. It's but it's worthwhile.
All right, so your favorite team is just like me, the Patriots.
Yeah, I've been rooting for them since Steve Grogan played, and
me too. Well, Drew Bledsoe for me, but yeah,
they weren't very good for a very long time.
So. No, I went to one game when I was a kid, and they beat the Colts 3-0, and they were 1-15 that year, and the Colts were 1-15, and they were literally the only teams that beat each other. The Colts they split the series, and they both went 1-15.
We should probably have a statue to Drew Bledsoe, though. Drew Bledsoe was like the foundation that they built the franchise on top of. Even though he didn't get any championships, he was really a big piece of.
Did he get one? I thought he got one. I thought he got one.
He got a ring. He probably doesn't wear it much because Brady started the game.
Right. Well, he did come into that Pittsburgh game and throw a touchdown pass, if I'm not mistaken, the AFC Championship.
I had friends who didn't understand how good he was, and I traveled with work all the time, and I had to tell them, dude, I see Bledsoe shirts all over the country. I don't think you understand how good our quarterback is. Like, he has fans everywhere.
Oh yeah. And Brady has fans everywhere, all over the world. Everybody knows who Brady.
I mean, you marry a supermodel and she dumps you for a jiu-jitsu teacher. So, that was kind of a big story.
It's so funny.
So what do you think of what we've done in free agency so far? Any moves you like or dislike?
I would say that what the Patriots have done is pretty solid. Nothing crazy extravagant. Vrabel said prior to free agency, sometimes you go to a car lot and you desperately need a car, So you'll pay more for what they have, whether you really want it or not, because it's the only one available, right? And people didn't like that. And then he paid all this money to someone. And it's like, yeah, but this is why he said that. He knew what their plan was. They're trying to plug in a bunch of solid pieces, nothing super extravagant yet. There's a lot of talk in the Boston area of wide receivers they should sign. I don't think they should sign any of them. Of course, you think Brady's a baby. You're not a Pats fan. You know.
Hey, she's a Packers fan, so it's even worse.
Yeah, but well, it's like people hating Mahomes, right? They hate Mahomes because we're not KC fans, so yeah, we hate him. But I like what they're doing so far. Even the Mac Hollins signing at wide receiver, it got trashed, right?
That's not bad. Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
I like that. He's a good he's a good real football player, right? He can block. He can give you 600-700 yards, maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns. Yeah, I know it's not the number one wide receiver fans want, right? It's not the splash, but
it's good for Drake May.
It's good for Drake May. I want to see them shore up that offensive line more than anything else, right? Left tackle. I think that's the piece everybody keeps talking about that we need. Good offensive lines win championships. Just ask Eagles fans.
So yeah, they should address that in the draft for sure.
Holy cow! Yeah, Eagles, man, they lost a lot of players. It's like I saw a thing earlier. It was like 6 or 7 or 8 players gone, 3 players they brought in. You're like, yeah.
When you win a championship, it's hard to keep them, right? Especially if you're paying everybody. And that was, I know I'm a homer, but that's what made the Patriots so good for so long, was that people want to pick on them for not spending money. Kraft doesn't like to spend money. Belichick kept finding ways to build teams that could compete. It didn't hurt having Brady as a quarterback, but we're going to see how hard it is for KC to do that now as some of their core pieces get really old, like Kelsey. I know he's not hanging it up, but he looks like he should hang it up. He didn't.
They lost an offensive lineman through free agency this year.
And they couldn't afford to lose him either, right?
Yeah.
The line wasn't that great. So it's going to be interesting.
It's almost like...
So, go ahead, JC.
I was just going to say 49ers are kind of going through the same situation. You know, they're going to have to pay Purdy now. You know, like you have to pay him. You know, you're not on that. You don't have that rookie contract anymore where you're like, all right, well, we can kind of get by and pay everybody else because we don't have to worry about paying our quarterback. But now it's like, all right, it's time to pay. Now everybody's out the door.
But they were all getting really old too, right? So like letting
he's young.
Well, yeah, but letting Debo go, that made sense. It's just like DK Metcalf not signing with Seattle, and I didn't want him to come to New England, and people are a little upset about that here if you listen to sports radio. And really, he's old. He's not.
He got 5 years. He got a 5-year contract.
He's a grinder. I mean, DK might be a diva, but he is a grinder, and he plays very hard, and he's a drive for football. He's a very good football player, and that's what I kind of like about him.
I love him. I didn't want him to come to the Patriots because they need young players in there right now with what they have. They're not winning a championship, and like there was some talk, I guess, Joe, the last couple of days of Cooper Kupp potentially coming to the Pats, and
I don't like it. I don't like it. Not a fan of that.
Kupp squashed it himself, said he didn't want to come to the Patriots, but I was like, why? You know, like, why would you do that? You I don't know. If they were going to sign somebody, T. Higgins was a guy I think that I would have liked to see them pull the trigger on if they were going to spend. Much younger. They can't pay everybody in that Cincinnati offense either, right? So eventually he's going to have to go.
Higgins would have been sweet, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're gonna make a push this year. You know, if Higgins is all in with them just for this, you know, he's gonna play this year.
They need to beef up that defense if they want to do anything. They were pathetic last year. They were like the Luka Doncic of the NFL. They could score, but everybody scored on them too. It was just
the defense. They did get better towards the end of the year, though. From week 12 on, they were a little bit above average. So what do we do with pick number 4? What do you want the Patriots to do with right there, pick number 4?
I don't know. It all depends, right, on who's going to be available. I don't know. What's the
Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan, Abdul Carter?
I wanted Abdul Carter. That's who I wanted. But now with his injury, I don't know, right? Like, and he still might not even make it to them. Is Travis Hunter going to make it to him? How's that going to happen? If somebody takes Shedeur Sanders prior, I don't see that happening. And go ahead, JC.
I was going to say, isn't McMillan? He's an Ole Miss receiver, right? A big
trade
body
back.
guy. Like,
they could trade back.
Like, well, I mean, you think about that. I mean, I feel like every kind of receiver that's like that kind of style, big body kind of guy, somewhat fast, can catch. That's like I mean, it's not DK, but DK and AJ Brown-esque, you know. I mean, you're kind of getting, I mean, if you want that style of player, if you're looking at a DK, then why not kind of go that route? And it's way younger and you can kind of mold them how you want.
Well, I think they want somebody young to pair up with Drake May, right? So
yeah.
Did my wife finally she finally chimed in the chat. It only took 5 shows.
Your wife?
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's get into all the free agency friends.
I didn't even see this. That's Park the Con, Harvard Yard.
Yeah.
Hey, my accent used to be that bad until I started traveling with work and people didn't understand me.
Yeah.
So I had to talk clearly.
Changes, right? And it changes. I was gonna say when my brother moved to Florida, he don't have the accent anymore either. It's weird. All right, so a lot has taken place in the NFL free agency this week. I would like to go over some of the more significant signings and trades and the impact they have from a fantasy football standpoint. I'm going to start with my favorite one. Najee Harris signs a 1-year deal worth $5.25 million with the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
I love. So last week I talked about Najee being one of my favorite mid-round targets in the 2025 redraft, especially if he landed somewhere nice, and boy, did he land nice. John Harbaugh knows how to get the most out of his running backs, and Najee has plenty left in the tank. I expect a good amount of volume and double-digit touchdowns. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I love this for Najee, as long as they don't try to split time. I was happy because I had just answered a dynasty question about somebody trading for J.K. Dobbins. I was like, don't do it. He plays like half the season, even though he's good when he plays. Najee effectively probably kills Dobbins' value completely. I like it for Najee. It's a run-first team. I mean, if he keeps getting the volume, he's one of those guys I draft in fantasy often because you can get him late and there's going to be some massive volume almost every year. So I kind of like him. I like that. I like the move.
JC, your thoughts?
I like the move too because he's going to be on an offense where he's never had receivers like that to give him a lot of play, right? He hasn't been on a team, you know, you look at Pittsburgh, right? They have an alpha and they have like another guy that kind of plays here and there, and then they got like a couple tight ends, and then it's him, right? He's basically the offense, and that's why I feel like a lot of these years we kind of been, Najee's kind of, you know, he's going to get you some time, he's going to get you some play, but I feel like he's going to get a lot more play now, right? Because there's not going to be a lot more focus on him, right? Mike Williams just went back here. They just got him. Quentin Johnson started showing out last year. He kind of came to life. And well, we all know McConkey's an absolute stud. So I feel like that's going to, you know, open up a lot of room for that run game. And I think Najee's going to get, you know, he'll even get into that, you know, pass catching, make some plays. And I think this is, you know, you're right. This is one of the top, you know, especially for fantasy football. If we're talking into that realm, this is a great spot. So if you're somebody who has him on your team right now in Dynasty, you are looking really good.
God, it's so nice to see other people like Najee Harris. So many people trash him in fantasy every year.
Situation. Like I said, I think
it's because it's because he's an unsexy pick. He's just like a floor guy. He's been a floor guy. You're not going to get a 30-point spike week out of him. So he's
everyone loves floor play. Everyone loves floor play. It warms you right up, gets you going good. You know,
I think everybody is so upset about Najee because of how good he was coming in with Ben in his last year, and then after that it was just like he's straight downhill, and everyone's like, "What happened?"
Well, they gutted that back.
He wasn't getting the cup off anymore. I mean, shit.
I knew the Steelers weren't going to pay him to keep him, right? But they completely gutted their backfield there too.
Yeah.
Right?
Jalen Warren's currently the lead back. I mean, I would assume that they're going to draft one of the running backs. Even if it's a day 2 runner.
Didn't Warren just sign with somebody else? I thought he didn't sign back with the Steelers. Maybe I read.
No, they picked up his second. Didn't they just pick up second year 10-year on him? Or whatever.
I know he signed. I might have been mixed up in a coughing fit or something.
The other day.
Yeah, no, he's currently
he's back.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on.
For Warren then too, right? It opens up that backfield for him too. Perfect.
Yeah. As long as he survives the draft, but even then, they'll probably draft a bigger back and Jalen Warren get all the pass down work for sure. All right, so we'll move on. Javonte Williams signs a 1-year deal, $3 million with Dallas Cowboys. We know Rico Dowdle went to Carolina, so he's currently the only running back there, I believe. And what's your thoughts on that, Mike? You have any
I think
aspirations for him?
I think they draft a running back. I expected him to have a really good season last year in Denver, and he just didn't produce. When he was on the field, he didn't produce at all, which surprised me because I know he was still coming back from an injury, but he was a year removed. Usually guys are much better when it comes to their speed and their quickness and their confidence on their knees after that. And I don't know. I think they draft somebody. So it's going to be very dependent on situation for me whether or not I would be in on Williams or not. If they draft somebody that looks like they're going to be a starter or compete with them, I'm not. I don't want any part of it. If they commit to him, I'd be kind of surprised that they committed to him as the lead back there, just because of how we played last year. But I'd be in with a late round draft pick if they committed to him because there'll be volume. But we had a lot of stuff to happen before. A lot of things going to happen before that. We know.
All right, JC, any thoughts?
I actually kind of think I like his play, Javonte Williams. I mean, we saw what he was when he played for North Carolina. You know, when coming out of school, man, he did have a big workload, and I don't know if he just came into the NFL out of his injury and he just didn't develop, or he wasn't paying attention or something. I think being in a new situation, he's going to be able to be like, all right, I'm the guy, I'm the lead guy, or even if they bring somebody in to compete with him. I think that he's got a new fresh start, new fresh legs, and we already know what they're going to do, what they want in Dallas. They want a bell cow. They want somebody who's going to run. They're going to run the hell out of, and why not? I mean, he has that pass. He has that style to where he could be the guy. So, can it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Who knows? Take a swing. I mean, 9th round, if you get him 10th round.
He's later than that. I was just going to say, the only thing I will add to that is he's basically free. I got the last basketball draft I did, I got him in round 16. So
that's free. Yeah. He's like that there. Yeah. It's like the last running back you can get where you're like, all right, well, if he hits, it didn't cost me anything. And you can trade him, you know?
All right. We'll move on. Chicago Bears beef up the offensive line by signing Drew Dahlman to a 3-year, $42 million contract. And they traded for both offensive guard Joe Thuney from the Chiefs and offensive lineman Jonah Jackson from the Rams. Are we feeling more optimistic about Caleb Williams taking a step forward in production in 2025? Mike?
I want to say yes, but he was a guy I didn't especially like coming out of college. All of my reasons for thinking he would be a success were based off of other quarterbacks that were number 1 draft picks. They all end up playing at least one Pro Bowl season, right? They produce. Is he gonna be good? He should be. He has some maturing to do, right? And definitely needs some protection. That offensive line was bad last year. So he's gonna take a step forward. How big of a step? I don't know. Again, I just don't know. He was set up pretty well for success already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here for me with Caleb.
Greg is asking who their wide receivers are. I believe it's Rome Odunze and DJ Moore.
So yeah, at this moment,
Keenan's gone, and Keenan was like top target towards the end of the season. He was just peppering him with the ball.
Komet, though, you might see a little uptick from Komet. I mean, Komet he has flashed a lot in his career, so
you have to think that because he was playing in line. Some games he was playing like 40%, like almost half the snaps in line, and he was just not part of the game plan. So you know, with the offensive lines.
So
Beans.
I don't know. The signings are great. It just depends on if Caleb can take that. That's really on Caleb at this point, because the line. I mean, they literally got graded an A for the moves that they've been making so far, which is, you know, when's the last time you saw that from the Bears? So we'll just see. It's really up to Caleb. Is he going to take the step forward? Is he going to have that mindset to where, okay, it's time to grow? You know, it's year 2. It's on him. Now this is him. He got year 1. All right, it's your reins, but we're going to be here. We're going to coach you. We're going to guide you. Year 2, it's your time. Show us what you can do. And if you can't.
We in the fantasy football community tend to put unfair expectations on rookie players all the time. And I think it's mostly because of dynasty.
Especially quarterbacks too. Especially
wide receivers recently too. Like I took so much heat for saying Rome Odunze was going to be the 3rd option in Chicago. I took so much heat for that.
That's why.
And in the beginning of the season, Keenan Allen was out. See, he's not the 3rd option, Reedy, you idiot. And I was like, but dude, that's because Keenan Allen's not playing. Like when everybody's on the field, he ended up being overall the 3rd option for the season, which was what I expected. And people were like, you just don't like him. No, he's a rookie wide receiver. He's super talented guy, but give him a chance. We don't give rookies enough time, most people, and expecting way too much year 1. And I just don't think it's fair to do that to like a 21-year-old kid. They're not, most of them aren't even 22 yet, right? They're all like 20, 21. It's
Tucker.
But it's a big change, right? College to the pros. Everybody's fast. Everybody's strong. Everybody can up a 40-inch vertical leap, right? Like it's a big difference. Very few guys are Jamar Chase in his rookie year, and very few guys really are Jaden Daniels in the rookie year, quarterback as well, right? I mean, I didn't expect that from him.
This was a very good all around. This was a very good quarterback class, though. So you knew a couple of them were going to pop.
I was saying that to my brother-in-law the other day. I was saying, I think we're going to look back here in a couple of years and say, I think that 2024 class was pretty damn good.
You could be looking at 5 guys who are starting for a very long time in this league.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
All right, let's get to the next one. Daniel Jones signs a 1-year deal with the Colts worth $14 million. What does this mean for Anthony Richardson in 2025? JC, we'll start with you on this one.
It means he needs to step it up, man. Can't what's the best thing that you can be? Not injured, right? I mean, that's if you can't play on the field, you're not helping the team. So that's the one thing. The one thing that he does have, though, is he's got an absolute cannon. That dude can throw the ball down the field, and he can make big plays, right? We did see him, but he's got to stay healthy. But it is a really, really good – I think it's a great signing because it's a good thing that they can use the same type of style player for their playbook, right? Because because Jones is going to run the ball too. So
they're similar.
It's a good signing. I'm really upset because I was hoping the Vikings would. I mean, for that price, I mean, come on, why wouldn't you just hold on to him? But it is what it is.
I was surprised the Vikings didn't hold on to him as well. I agree with Greg. Short leash, right? Jones can step in and take over at quarterback, and he's not old. I don't know if he got a fair shake with the Giants or not. I know he wasn't good this year, and they felt the need to move on. Richardson, it's another young guy that I felt they just gave him the reins too early, and he wasn't ready. And people, like, I've had this discussion on other podcasts, and I got told, well, you play him so that he gets ready by playing. Dude, you can break him if he's not ready by putting him in there and just shatter his confidence, especially when
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, every Jets quarterback they draft, right? Like, that's just how it is. It's so, I don't know. I'm not an Anthony Richardson kind of guy myself. I think he's deep ball and run are his two strengths, and teams find him easily to defend. Yeah, and Greg, he doesn't have any confidence. He didn't look super confident to me this past season. So, does signing Daniel Jones crap all over his confidence, or does it help him? I don't know. Right? We'll see.
I think it should help him because it's somebody that's similar to his style that he's going to really be competing with. It's not like you're signing somebody who just is a field general. Like somebody who's out there just throwing the ball around. You're literally signing somebody that's going to compete with you at your same style of football play.
All right. Vegas trades for Geno Smith, reuniting him with Pete Carroll. How are we feeling about Geno in Vegas, Mike?
I like that. I think that's a great move. I was Geno Smith is such a good story, right? Like, they should probably make a movie about him someday. He's hung around for a long time, got a chance with Seattle, produced, won the starting job. I mean, really late in his career. They're doing a rebuild. He goes someplace else where he gets to start again with the coach that started him originally in Seattle. So it's a good story. I mean, is Geno going to take them to a Super Bowl? No, but he's solid. It's a good story. Pete gets somebody who knows his system right away. So the fit
stability,
overall,
right? Stability.
Yeah, that's a stability move, and it's a smart move.
JC, you have anything to add?
If they do like AOC, it's kind of nice because they could let him, kind of learn from a big time veteran who's been around the league. The only thing this kind of bugs me about is if you have Brock Bowers, I might be a little bit worried because you don't really see a lot of action coming from, or the tight ends don't see a lot of action coming from Geno. I mean, you can go back and look, and he had some pretty good. You saw Will Disley flash when he was with LA, and then you had Noah Fant there. I mean, you had some good tight ends. I mean, Jimmy Graham, but he didn't play it with that at that point. But he did have some good tight ends that played, and you did not see them get a lot of targets.
Not only did you have good tight ends go there while Geno was starting, you had good tight ends go there. The fantasy community create this buzz around them, only to watch them not produce with Geno as their quarterback. So
a little worried.
I would agree. There's some risk. There's definitely some risk.
You're going to see regression this year for Bowers.
Hard to go up from the overall TE1.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
First, he's costing you a first round pick right now, though. Mid to back end first round pick. All right, let's move on to another big one. The Rams signed Davante Adams to a 2-year, $46 million deal. Does this signing affect Puka Nacua positively or negatively? And does this move Matt Stafford up in your quarterback rankings? Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's good for Puka. It helps him, especially since we knew Kupp was out. Adams will probably play every game, so it'll definitely help. I had Stafford relatively high in my mind. Like, anyways, probably higher than some people. If I go back and do real quarterback rankings after the NFL draft hits, I think it moves Stafford up a little. Stafford had some really bad games this year. He's one of those players that hurt me in DFS when we were talking about how bad of a year for DFS it was for me. But he had some really good games too. And some of his bad games were guys would get injured and during the game, and then, it was hard to produce. I don't think Adams is someone I'm going to look to draft myself in fantasy, right? I think he's going to be the number 2 guy here, not the number 1 guy here. And most of his production last year with the Jets was the last 4 or 5 games when Aaron Rodgers was force feeding him and ignoring everybody else on the team. So, and I get what Greg's saying about not so much Nacua. Probably keeps Nacua around the same. But I think that helps him, considering I thought losing Cup would have hurt him if they didn't bring somebody else in. I don't know. What do you think, JC?
I'm kind of going back here and looking 2023. So Devonta Adams finished as the wide receiver 11, and Jacoby Myers finished as a wide receiver 23. And I wouldn't say that Jacoby Myers is the same style of talent as high as Nacua is. So I can still see, and that year Adams had 175 targets, and I don't see him getting that much. This year I could see Adams still getting like 100, 135, 145, and Nacua still seeing a huge amount of targets. And Myers had 109 targets that year. So I could see them having an equal amount of targets, or maybe one of them having 10 less targets than the other. I could see them both, being, and you see, Adams is on a different kind of level. I think he is that kind of talent that is somebody who can last for a long time regardless of age. He will probably hit that point where he just drops off, but I don't know. Stafford is one of those quarterbacks that just makes plays happen, and I think Adams is also that style of player. And having Nacua, who is also that style of player, it's going to be beneficial, I feel like, for all 3 players.
All right, so I'm going to give a little thought on this one. I don't see it affecting Puka Nacua. He does what he does. But I will go into a little bit on Davante Adams. Mike said he was out. I'm going to be in on Davante for 2 reasons. One, he's basically becoming Cooper Kupp. Like, he just stepped into the Cooper Kupp role. And 2, so I expect him to still get a decent amount of, he's not going to get the 175 targets you were talking about, JC, but I still could see him getting 120 plus easily. Yeah, he's the better I would say he's the better red zone target. I could see him getting double-digit touchdowns easily if he stays healthy. And I think he's got that high volume contingency upside if Puka Nacua were to miss games. So that is why I'm in on Davante Adams with the Rams. And I love Stafford too. Like you, Mike, I have him ranked higher than most. So for me, he's going to stay the same. I don't see him passing any of the prolific, rushing quarterbacks and elite quarterbacks. But I got him. I would take him over Mahomes.
Demarcus Robinson's gone too.
Demarcus Robinson's gone too. I was going to say that as well.
Yeah.
Mahomes is what, a top 10 fantasy quarterback though, right? Like, he's not a top 3 fantasy quarterback anymore.
No. I like he's not going to be top 5 or top 6, but I
mean, same tier, right? I mean, people don't want to hear that, but it is what it is right now.
Football, what I like about him is you can get him a few rounds later.
That's what I like about him too, and I'm a disciple of late round QB. Right, so I tend to try to draft quarterbacks later, especially in 1 quarterback leagues. I mean, which is most leagues. I don't see reaching.
No point.
All right. Moving on. Minnesota Vikings retain Aaron Jones for another 2 years. this bodes well for his fantasy value as it pretty much cements him as the starting running back. Anybody have any different thoughts or any thoughts you want to add to this? Other than it's good for Aaron Jones that he stayed, fit for fantasy football reasons.
I think it's good for him and good for the Vikings that he stayed. He played really well there this past season. I saw an interesting tweet after they signed him. How, oh my God, Aaron Jones goes to the Vikings. Someone said, and I was like,
he's been there.
I almost retweeted it and said, dude, he was with the Vikings. What are you talking about?
I think I saw that.
All he did was resign.
As a Vikings fan, I'm going to say I love Aaron Jones, but at the same time, I hate Aaron Jones because there are those days. His fumbling issues, that's got to be fixed. His injury issues, that's got to be fixed. I really hope that the Vikings go out and draft a running back in the second round this year to sit behind Aaron Jones and play alongside him. But, man, I love Aaron Jones because he can do some crazy shit. But, oh, my goodness, there are days where you're like.
He's a boom-bust kind of guy in fantasy football, too. Like, he's not very.
Yeah. Touchdown to All right. Steelers trade for DK Metcalf and sign him to a 5-year, $150 million contract. Can he go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'd like it more if they had a quarterback. I'd like it more if they had a quarterback.
JC?
Who's wearing 14? Him or Pickens? They're gonna fight for it.
It should be Pickens. I don't think this one. I don't know if DK makes us think about it.
I feel like it's me. If I'm a quarterback out there right now, why are you not trying to go to this team? You have one of the best coaches probably in the NFL who's never had a losing season. You have two elite wide receivers. Running back room is a little bit. I mean, Warren's okay. He's good. He's serviceable. I'm sure they'll pick somebody up or draft somebody. But Freiermuth, man, I would like to be thrown to him too because he's very talented tight end as well. I mean, this like receiver style, is very solid. Oh, they also just got they just re-signed Scotty Miller, right?
I'm surprised he's still in the NFL.
He got hands, bro. Like in Tampa, he had hands. Like out of nowhere, he was catchable. So I mean, I'd be happy to go to this team. I don't know why nobody's trying to sign here. I'd be happy to be there.
Probably going to be Aaron Rodgers. Would be my guess.
I hope it is.
I think they're waiting on Rodgers. Yeah.
Yeah.
God help them.
All right. Quarterback Justin Fields signs a 2-year deal for $40 million with the New York Jets. JC, I'll go to you first on this one. How do you feel about his impact on Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and do you see him holding down the starting job all year?
I love this for Justin Fields, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. I was really hoping that Fields would have got picked up by the Vikings when that opportunity was there because I wanted to see him here because they were looking for that style of. I mean, it was perfect for our offense. I think if he goes in there with a good mindset. In a new, I'm in a new area and they want me to be the starting quarterback. Unlike being, all right, yes, I'm going to the Steelers. Oh shit. Now here comes Russell Wilson and I got to compete against him. Like now it's just like, he's going to be the guy. I mean, who's he competing against? Was it Hunt, Travis, is it Travis Hunt? Who is it? Jordan Travis. Is he still there? Right. Like, I think that's about it. I'm happy for Fields. If he can get into that good mindset, having an elite, not just one, he's got Braylon Allen too, which is another great running back behind them who can help him right there, keep his confidence level, and he can run around the pocket if he needs to. And man, Garrett Wilson, he's solid. So I'm hoping everything goes well, and I'm really hoping he can redevelop his image and his playing ability here in the Jets. It is the Jets, but I hope so. It is the Jets.
Mike, how you liking Fields?
I'm happy for Justin Fields. When Chicago wanted to move away from him, I think because they didn't want to pay him past his rookie contract. I didn't think he played all that poorly while he was there, to be fair to him. I thought he played pretty well while he was there. The team was not good. He played very well as a game manager for the Steelers last season. I mean, in fantasy, he was meh, right? But in real football, he managed the game really well. And if he's going to do that, it's a good move for the Jets, right? And he's not going to have the coaches he had with Pittsburgh, but if they use him as a game manager, he proved he can play that way and win, and that's important. And I like guys like that, by the way, real football players that aren't overly sexy but win. So I think it can work out nice.
Fields did have those boom games, though. I mean, when he played for the Bears,
he had 40 points.
Like
40 point game.
You're like, that's the ceiling? Oh, okay.
Two seasons ago, I had a conversation with a fellow high stakes player, and I said that Justin Fields will lead the league in 40 plus point games. Not so much the points, he'll finish like QB7 or whatever, but he ended up not playing the whole season. So that went out there. But he did have two early on.
Yeah, week 3
did.
and 4.
So he does have that ceiling. I like him
very well because I had Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins was having a shitty start to the year, and I was like, I'm dropping Cousins for Fields, and the next week Fields had a shitty game and Cousins had a 40-point game, and you're like, fuck. No.
All right. Yeah. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks for 3 years, $100 million. Anybody like this at all? Yeah, right.
I just went through that ride. He did good, but I'm gonna tell you right now, wins are not quarterback stats; it's a coaching stat. So it was not fun to watch here. It was every week.
Happy to see him get a starting job. I'll leave it at that. Right? Like, good for him. He got paid. He has a starting job. The Seahawks, though, are kind of in shambles, so we'll see what happens there.
All right. Evan Ingram signs with Denver, 2 years, $23 million. I love this. I love this signing. Ingram has a clear path to being the number 2 target on the team behind Cortland Sutton. That's really all that's there right now. And they have Marvin Mims. Yeah, but Mims has never been a high target guy, and they for some reason I don't know why they don't use him more, but he should, if they should use him a little bit more this year. But I still see Ingram being number 2 on the team, and that makes him a targeted tight end for me. That's one of my qualifies. He's going to play the Joker role in Sean Payton's offense.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for too. So I like it, man. As long as he can stay healthy and his hands aren't buttery popcorn hands.
He's perfect for the role in that offense.
So, JC, should I just read off the last 5 and move on to the next segment? I mean, we're at 52 minutes. I don't know if you
up to Reedy, man. Whatever. We ain't got anything after this, so whatever you want to do, up to Reedy.
What about you? You want to go through everything? We want to go through everything to the end, Mike?
Just go through them. We can be slightly quick.
Well, no big deal.
I ramble because I want to be funny.
I'll stay all night. No. So Carolina, I mentioned this earlier. Carolina Panthers signed Rico Dowdle to a 1-year, $6.25 million deal. Pair up with Chuba Hubbard.
Goodbye, Miles.
Well, yeah, Miles was already gone. I think they already got rid of him. And Jonathan Brooks is probably going to be out for the season. So you have to have you have to have somebody in there. It's good for Bryce Young, I'll tell you that. I'm very high on him this year, and you're going to be able to get him late.
Oh, am I? Yeah. I hope they add another wide receiver, though.
And they just re-signed restructured Thielen.
They're bringing back Thielen. Yep, I saw that. All right, Mac Jones to the 49ers on a 2-year, $7 million deal. $7 million deal. I like this. Here's why I like this. I think that any quarterback who has high draft capital, like Mac Jones, any first-round quarterback, really, if they end up in a bad situation like he did and things don't go well, when your contract is up and you leave that team, you need to go to a team as a backup that's got a structured offense. It's got a good coach that knows how to build quarterbacks up. And this move I like for Mac Jones. And I think it's a trend that we need to start seeing more from these bad luck quarterbacks there, that they don't hit right away, first round quarterbacks. And it's a lot of it has to do with the system that they initially brought up in.
Three offensive coordinators in 3 years didn't help Mac Jones. Mac Jones played really well as a rookie and then got progressively worse because they kept switching coordinators on him, right? And I mean, one of those coordinators was Matt Patricia, who was not an offensive coordinator.
No.
So San Francisco got the guy they wanted in that draft. It just took them a few years to get him. You know, now he's backing up Brock Purdy. I thought he played as good, maybe slightly better than Trevor Lawrence did last season. You know, so
at times for sure, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. I'm glad to see him land somewhere, but that team looks like they're rebuilding right now too. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, they're at a point too where they're gonna have to figure out if they want to pay Purdy or not. So,
yeah.
All right, Big Mike back in LA on a 1-year deal, $6 million.
Money.
Yep, I like it too. Justin Herbert will throw touchdown passes to that guy when they're in the red zone.
Man, that team, talk about a coaching change making a huge difference with a team, huh?
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. And everyone kind of thought, I don't know about Harbaugh coming back to the NFL. Wrong.
Harbaugh boards can coach. Dad taught them well.
They definitely can.
All right, we got Raheem Mostert signs one. Oh, I didn't put the team. Who did he sign with?
He went to the Raiders. So
That's right.
He went to the Raiders, and Madison went to the Alexander Madison went to the
Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins.
Yep. These are the ones I added today at the last minute. So, all right, you have to bear with me on that one. They're also kind of irrelevant. They're backup guys: Noah Brown, KJ Osborne.
I mean, I wouldn't really say Mostert's a backup guy for what they had there last year. Nobody was great. Everyone was backups there last year. It was Madison. It was who was the guy that? Damn it! Who was the guy that the footballers were on so long ago when the Lions signed him? Like when they drafted him, it was somebody that they.
He is their starter. Right now, I don't. They have to draft a running back.
Yeah, there's just nobody is there basically. They have to either draft a running back. I mean, Mostert's not bad if he can stay healthy. He's at least a north-south runner.
He doesn't have a ton of miles on those legs, even though he's old. But he hasn't been healthy the past couple of years. So he's good when he's on the field, right? What's it? Mostert, right? You know,
yeah,
I mean,
Mostert, yeah, yep.
He did have almost. How many touchdowns did he have 2 years ago? It was a lot. 18.
Yeah,
18, 19.
I thought he was going to still be splitting carries this past season, which didn't happen.
No, A-Chain went nuts.
No, he's good.
All right. Let's move on to general draft strategy thoughts. So moving on, I wanted to talk about draft strategy. Mike and I have had some in-depth conversations over the last year about draft strategy in general. From how to prepare for draft day to what we should be doing in the draft room during the draft. One of the things I found most intriguing about Mike is how important he values adapting to what is happening during the draft. Why don't you talk to us about adaptive strategy and give us some thoughts on your process of which players you end up targeting more so than others, and JC and I will chime in some thoughts and questions along the way.
So I keep writing about the adaptive draft strategy. I just named something that was already going on with smart people, you know, zig when they zag, blah, blah, blah. People go into these drafts, especially people who are diehard fantasy guys and reading all the trendy stuff. I'm going to do 0 running back. I'm going to do 0 wide receiver. I'm going to do hero running back. Well, My very first Scott Fishbowl draft, by the way, 12 teams, 8 teams were doing 0 running back.
Oh, yeah.
8. And Jamie Calandro and I are sitting next to each other. And I went running back. He went running back. And then it went wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. And I looked at him and I said, they're all doing either 0 running back or hero running back, but you and I, the whole league. We finished in the top 3. And everybody else, but this was what you were supposed to do this year. No, you're supposed to draft a team that gets you the most points you can get every single week. Doesn't matter if it's a running back or a wide receiver or a quarterback. If everybody's drafting tight ends, don't draft a tight end in that round. Odds are you're going to get the end of the stick. And people do it all the time because they get caught up. Oh, no, I won't have one at all. Dude, you're drafting the worst running back out of the 10 teams. You might as well wait a few more rounds and draft, a really good wide receiver, a really good running back when that's happening, if you have the opportunity. And that's it in a nutshell, right? What it's all about is adapting to what's going on in the draft. I also like to do things to people where if they're paying attention to the draft, I like to reach for somebody that I want, that I see a dog's tail wagging, right? To screw with other people sometimes a couple of rounds early and watch them panic set in, because you'll draft somebody 2 rounds earlier than anybody else was planning, and they're, oh my God, somebody drafted, who did that? And you can just mentally shake up people in your draft, right?
That's Mel. That's Mel.
If I'm drafting on the turn, I often do things where, in the 4th and 5th round, or the 3rd and 4th round, where I've gone tight end in a league where it's a single tight end and a flex tight end starting, not TE premium or anything, just again to start the TE run and watch all these people in your league go, oh, I got to draft a tight end. This guy just did 2 in a row. What are you doing? And you can start dictating what people do by doing some stuff that they might view as unorthodox. Because what I notice from my friends are they'll do things like 0 running back or 0 wide receiver or late round QB, but they'll also do things where they'll plan out their draft. I'm going to go wide receiver in the 1st round, then I'm going to draft a running back in the 2nd round. Well, who's available? You know what I mean? Like, who's available is more important to me than filling that position. Yep. So I'm not passing, like, if you were playing PPR 3 years ago, you weren't passing on Cooper Kupp if you were late 1st round or early 2nd round, if he was there, because everybody else was trying to go running back just to get the end of the 2nd tier. I mean, it's so, in a nutshell, that's what it is. I know you guys, anybody watching this right now is a diehard fantasy football player. We don't need to spell everything out more than that, but have fun with it. Get people doing stupid things.
And I think with that element that you said at the end there too, is like have fun. I think to me too is like when I go into with my mindset is like if there's players there, like I'll find a couple of players that I like, and I'll start looking for different rounds. All right, these are players that I would be okay. Like if my team starts to fall apart, I'm gonna have fun watching them anyways, because they're players that I love and support. So they're gonna be on my team. So there are players that I look for when I go into my draft. I'm like, all right, I'm going to make sure that there's some way that I can get those players on my team, even if I have to move, maybe go around early. But I will prep for it. I'm going to prep, and the other thing I like to do too is like, when it comes to like, I don't know, like tight ends, right? Very, very few tight ends are like players that you can set and forget. Right. So if I don't get those players, and when I'm trying to like, and those players have to be in a spot, right, where I feel okay drafting them. It's not, I don't like to chase that position. There are ways, if those players aren't available, I'll wait, wait, because there are like tight ends, like, and you can get like a Zach Ertz. Like last year, nobody was really even thinking about Zach Ertz. Guess what? He was a beast, and he's going to be a beast this year. It's like you look for players where you're like, all right, well, I know this guy might be a little bit older, but he's going to be very, very competitive at Zach Ertz. Like this year for me, I don't know how a lot of people are on him or not, but with Ingram leaving, if they don't draft a tight end, I'm very high on Brenton Strange this year. Like he's basically free.
He's going to be free redraft too. No one's going to be touching. Yeah.
And he did flash a lot, and I don't know. I'm kind of high on that offense this year. I do like Trevor. I do like ETN. I mean, I'm huge on Brian Thomas Jr. So if they can bring in somebody else there, I mean, I think this team can flourish. We'll see. Should be all about having fun. Fantasy football should be all about having fun. You shouldn't be stressed out when you're drafting.
No.
Well, I like a couple things Mike said. Is I have no problem pushing somebody up around too. Once it gets like a little deeper, not like the first two, three, but a little bit after that, I have no problem pushing a guy up one round if it's somebody that I know is gonna fit my build perfect, and then like you said, it throws some people off, and what it does is it makes other people make mistakes, and when other people make mistakes, the next time it comes back around to you, you have some options, and it's kind of
manipulative. That's why I think you do it right. You start dictating the draft.
You manipulate it.
Other people panic, and it's like, oh, this is turning out the way I wanted, right? It makes it fun. It honestly, one of my very best friends, a guy who taught me how to play fantasy football. I play in 2 leagues with him, and we usually draft in the same room, like sitting there on our phones now, drafting while we're watching TV, and we will literally look at each other, me and Larry, and like push buttons on the draft and watch the other guy start laughing like, oh my God. And then watch, I'm going to send the whole draft room into a frenzy because I'm going to do this when it gets to me. And you can just see like other people start to panic. And draft players, they really
it causes tilt. It causes tilt. I like it. It does.
The best though, if you want to do that, the best is like when you're like talking about players, and then like somebody, then someone drafts them, and they're like, "Oh, I sniped you." You're like, "Well, I mean, I would have drafted him like 2 rounds later." So then you're like, then they're like, "Oh no, I made a mistake." You know, then you're like,
well, you got to do it when it makes sense. Like last year, for me, the guy I was doing that with was Brian Thomas. He was going like late 6th, 7th round in that range. If I had to pick in the beginning of the 6th round, I was snapping them off. And if I had to pick late in the 5th round, I was snapping them off right there because I want that, and it was, and the people behind me were like so mad because I knew that they were planning on taking him as a flex in their 0 running back build. And you know what I mean? And to pair with their 3 elite wide receivers, and that like you do it with certain players that you know that you think are going to pop or that you like, and Thomas was right in that range. He was a good one to do it with last year.
Is JSN overrated?
No,
I think he's very talented. Who's throwing the ball this year to him? Darnold, right? So
who's the defense? We'll find out how he does against double coverage, consistent double coverage at that too, unless they can.
Nobody else there anymore. So it'll be interesting. He's a very good player. He had a very good year this past season, right? Like he had a really good season. We'll see how he does. Brian Thomas was a guy I was targeting later in like mid to late rounds too, by the way, in many leagues. And he ended up being my number 1 wide receiver on some of my teams that were leagues going against 0 running back guys where they loaded up heavy on wide receiver early. That wasn't a bad thing.
So, Mike, why don't you talk to us about how the importance of a player's situation affects how you view them?
So, I think it's everything. Right. A lot of people in our industry think talent always wins out. No, opportunity always wins out. If the guy's in the right spot where he's getting opportunity, he produces. If he's not, it doesn't really matter how talented he is. if he's not touching the football. And I know most people with the talent ones out are dynasty guys, and they think everybody can wait 5 years for somebody, but they can't, right? You're playing to win every season, or most people are.
Mhm.
And, so opportunity wins out, coaching wins out, right? Play calling matters a lot more than people think or want to believe. There's if you don't think play calling matters, just watch the Buffalo Bills and what they did with Stephon Diggs. Went there supposed to be a number one wide receiver. Yeah, he could have a bad attitude. I don't know. There's kind of a knock on him, right? He's somebody nobody signed yet, I believe, either, right? So I know that's a perception, and I know, but he was incredible when he played for the Vikings, right? Just incredible. They went to the Bills, thought he was going to be this superstar, amazing player, but the offense really wasn't right for him. Wasn't a good fit. The opportunities there just wasn't a good place for him to be, right? So, it didn't work out. I feel that way about a lot of players. Like a lot of people were super high on all these wide receivers going to Kansas City during the season last year. DeAndre Hopkins, oh my God, he's going to be a stud. Dude, he is not going to be a stud in that.
Marquise Brown, too. Marquise Brown was another.
Marquise Brown, yeah, no. I'm fine with taking the flyer on that, right? Because who knows? Maybe. But Hopkins is way past his prime. He went to a team where, in my mind, I was like, if they're smart, they're going to give the ball to Worthy and utilize the speed, kind of like Tyreek Hill, like if they can, right? If he can handle it. And Travis Kelce's there, and the way their offense has been, that place spreads the ball around like crazy, or they focus on two guys. And since Tyreek Hill's left, they've really, the wide receivers, he just spreads the ball around so well.
Yeah.
It's like Ravens wide receivers. People get over excited about the Ravens wide receivers. Oh my God. And hey, I hate to tell you this. Jackson is an incredibly accurate quarterback, but he's going to throw the ball to 10 different guys every single game. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So don't bet an early round pick on a Ravens wide receiver, right? Because the situation, it's just not good. It doesn't matter how good the player is. The offense doesn't work that way. It's just not what they do.
Yeah. Agreed.
Nice. All right. You have anything to add, JC, on that? On situation?
I agree 100%.
All right. All right. Well, Mike, I want to thank you for coming on, man. This was fun.
Oh, thanks so much. I saw a dog tail wagging in your background there, JC, and then my monster cat had to jump up here. My dog has been doing all kinds of bad things that she could never get away with if I wasn't on this show right now.
Nice. So she knows. She 100% knows.
Oh God, she's only a puppy, but she's like, he's busy, and she's running by me with stuff wagging her tail, all excited, and I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
That's my dog. That's what she does. She notices. She's like, oh, you're on your show now. I have to go outside. Oh, I want to play with the squeak toy. Like, what? You didn't want to do any of that a little bit ago.
There's a whole bunch of things from my bathroom on the floor next to me right now that are not
just want your attention, Papa. Oh yeah.
Tell the audience where they can find you, Mike.
You can find me on Fantrax for my written articles. And if you want to watch me on a pod, right, or stream show, Optimus Fantasy over there with Nate. We do shows a week. One's a DFS show, one's a waiver wire show. I'm assuming, Joe, maybe I'll be on more with you during the season once it kicks off as well, right? Gladly come on whenever you guys need somebody, or want somebody who talks too much and is old. I mean, I'm filling the Greg Kellogg old quota.
We could take all of our conversations and bring them right there. That's it. No more DMs. Yeah, no, you can DM too, but you know what I mean. The sentiment.
Sorry.
It's funny. Oh, it's good stuff.
All right.
But thanks for having me on, guys. Deeply appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on, man. Absolutely. You're always welcome here.
It's good to go back, Reedy. Back to the undroppables days.
See, it is, and it's good seeing all the things you've done with the Sports
Thanks,
Affiliation.
brother. Appreciate
really cool
you.
Nice.
I'm all about having fun and bringing positivity to the community. That's all about me, man. That's it.
That's the goal, right? I mean, there's enough negative people out there. We don't have to be that way.
Man. It should be fun.
It'd be fun.
It's literally a game.
Fantasy should be fun, and it's not real.
Like, if you have bad fantasies, I don't know what you're thinking about.
It is fun.
It is fun,
right?
There's the high stakes guy.
I don't do the 30 entries like most of them do. I have like 4. I do 4 high stakes entries per year. I might do 5 this year, but 4 or 5, usually 4 or 5. Then the rest is like Scott Fish and like the charity stuff, and I'm gonna do a couple of those small stuff.
Joe's a shark, JC. He's a shark.
Yeah,
I do well though. I do well.
We're gonna be getting into some best ball this year.
So next week, our guest is Rachel Woodward, aka Tootsie Pop.
Love her. Great person.
Oh yeah,
Rachel's awesome.
It's gonna be a great show.
JC, why don't you tell us about some of the content we have going on at the Sports Affiliation, and then close us out.
It is nonstop, man. We are working. I mean, obviously, off season's here. We've seen a lot of free agency stuff happening, so I am trying to post as much stuff as I can keep up with what I've got going on. So I at least try to get any of the big signings that come out, any of the kind of small 1-year stuff. It's hit and miss stuff, but yeah, any of the big stuff, anything that affects fantasy or anything that's like any big lineman, anything like that, I throw that in there. But yeah, man, we got shows going on all week. Mondays, man, we're doing mock drafts on Monday nights. Tuesday, Rick's got his shows on Tuesday, doing some charity stuff. We're going to start getting back into doing some best ball. So I will be probably doing drafters again on Tuesday nights here soon. So doing some best ball stuff. Wednesday, Carla killing the game, doing a lot of interviews, man. She is crushing it. Always a fun time with her. And then Thursdays is us, man. And then we got our cards, man. I do cards whenever we fill our breaks, we rip some sports cards and have fun with that. So, I mean, it's just nonstop. Hopefully I'm going to have, I know you're going to be writing soon. I know the website will be popping up and starting up again, but like I said, I'm just been so busy with everything. So it's fun, man. We're all about having fun. I really wanted to get I'm hoping I might get one going here just because, the brackets are starting, right? We got basketball brackets here starting next week, on Sunday, it's selection day. So I might just get one going for fun. Maybe we'll do a $5 or $10 one and just get some prizes. Every year we've done it, we've given away. Like I always try to find autograph stuff from basketball players. Like I think the first year we had like a Bill Walton autograph jersey, and then I can't remember who was last year. I had a autograph basketball from somebody, but we always try to find something fun. Oh no, I think it was like who was it autograph? But it was actual like the booklet from like the pamphlet, the actual like booklet from the whole like. When you go to the event, they give you like a booklet. It was like an autograph, one of those. But yeah, we just try to have fun. So I'm trying to do some fun things, and I don't know. There's just so much going on. Oh yeah, Sundays too. JR show, basketball. So much.
That one's on early. I get the notification. I'm like, holy shit, they do that. I go like this. I'm like, that means it's 7:30 in LA, and I think they're from LA, right? I'm like, what? They're on there. I'm like, what the hell? 7:30, they're on there, man. That's nuts.
He does it all year, man. Even during the basketball season, so he tries to get out a little bit or during the football season, so he gets it out early before everyone's out there doing their fantasy stuff. So it's nonstop, man. We're gonna have fun this year. Oh yeah, Expo, Fantasy Football Expo. So anybody who's out there that's going, make sure you get out there. We do have a promo code. I will put that up quick, but should have had that going. like I said, so much stuff going. But if you're going to the expo in Canton, the weekend of August 10th, if you want to get your tickets, we do have promo codes, $10 off, TSA fam 10. But yeah, other than that, let's have some fun. Appreciate you, Reedy.
Beautiful. I've never been. I'm not going to make it this year either. So
you gotta at least go once. You have to at least experience it once. It's a love, man. It's a love fest. Everybody's there to just have fun and talk. You know, it's not even just football. I think everyone's there to just talk and learn about each other and have fun. And
I keep hearing that, and I keep missing it, and I know I'm not going to be able to make it this year too. So it's
all right. It ain't going anywhere, Reedy.
I'm going for the poker tournament.
You gotta take the ring away from our guy.
We gotta keep it as a sports affiliation guy. That way has to
Ronnie won it last year. All right, let's get out of here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us tonight. It's been a blast, Reedy, man. You're a great guest, and Joe, man, you're a great host. So
thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I talk too much.
You did good, Mike. You did good. I like going over. I hate the hour time limit, but it is what it is. So I like going over. It should just go like it should be like a poker tournament. It just whatever it ends. Like you can't.
So you end up trying to figure out how much people will watch or listen to, right? Because if they're not, some people like long format, like some people like real short, and they want like 3-hour shows, and they keep going back. And some people want 45 minutes, and then they're out. Some
people just want shorts. They want 5-minute show, 10-minute little quick show. Yeah. It is what it is. We're all about having fun, though, right?
Yes, it was a really good time. Thanks, guys. And
all right,
you did. I think I muted my coughing, but I'm gonna jump ahead and take this puppy out.
We're really leaving now. All right.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks.
Later. Bye.
Bye.